First contact fallout. Lieutenant Maya Rice stepped off the transport shuttle onto the gleaming surface of Orion Station, home of the prestigious Stellar Academy. The massive space station hung in orbit around Nexus Prime, a neutral world at the crossroads of the Galactic Federation's 5 founding species. She paused for a moment, taking in the magnificent vista of alien architecture that stretched before her. Towering spires of crystalline material that caught the light of the nearby star and scattered it in prismatic patterns across the docking bay. Maya was one of the first humans to attend the Academy since Earth had been granted provisional membership in the Federation just 8 months earlier. At 28, she had already distinguished herself as one of Earth's finest combat pilots and tactical analysts. But here, among the stars, she was just another primitive newcomer. "Human, you're obstructing the disembarkation path," came a rumbling voice from behind her. Maya turned to face a towering Vorsidian, his scaled skin rippling with bioluminescent patterns that signaled impatience. Commander insignia adorned his ceremonial armor. Standing nearly 8 feet tall, with 4 arms and densely muscled limbs, the Vorsidian physical form had evolved in the crushing gravity of their homeworld, making them natural warriors. "Apologies, Commander," Maya said, stepping aside with military precision. "Lieutenant Maya Rice, Earth Division, reporting for Stellar Academy training rotation." The Vorsidian's vertical pupils narrowed. "I am Commander Thrax, Advanced Combat Instructor." "You're the human specialist." He pronounced human like it was a communicable disease. "Yes, sir." Tactical analysis and adaptive response. Thrax made a dismissive gesture with his lower right arm. "The Federation's charity cases grow more absurd each cycle. Your species has barely managed interplanetary travel, yet here you stand, pretending to belong among civilizations thousands of years your senior." Maya maintained her composure, though her jaw tightened imperceptibly. "I look forward to learning from those with more experience, Commander." "Learning," Thrax repeated, mandibles clicking in what Maya recognized as the Vorsidian equivalent of derisive laughter. "Your species' obsession with learning is precisely why you don't belong here. True warriors are born, not taught. Your fragile physiology and limited lifespan make you inherently inferior for combat roles." Several other aliens had paused their activities to watch the exchange. Maya felt dozens of eyes, some compound, some with multiple irises, some barely recognizable as eyes at all, fixed upon her, the first human many of them had ever seen in person. "Perhaps different perspectives offer different advantages, Commander," Maya replied evenly. Thrax loomed closer. "You will address me as Senior Commander, human. And the only advantage your kind brings is reminding superior species of how far they've evolved." His bioluminescence flashed in patterns that translated roughly to smug satisfaction. "Report to Processing Station Delta for quarantine and decontamination. Your Earth bacteria are not welcome here." As Thrax strode away, Maya caught whispers from nearby aliens, most untranslatable without her neural implant, which was still calibrating to the station's frequencies. But the tone was unmistakable, curiosity mixed with disdain. An announcement echoed across the docking bay. "All new cadets report to orientation in the central atrium in 30 minutes. Tardiness will not be tolerated." Maya shouldered her regulation bag and headed toward processing, her footsteps echoing in the cavernous space. The bag felt heavier than it should, weighed down by the responsibility she carried. She wasn't just representing herself, she was representing Earth and all of humanity. The processing station was clinical and efficient. A holographic Arcturian medic, vaguely humanoid but with too many joints and pale blue skin, guided Maya through a series of scanners. "First human I've processed," the medic commented, their voice melodious despite the clinical setting. "Fascinating biological redundancies you have. 2 kidneys but only 1 heart. Evolution takes such strange paths." Maya submitted to the scans with practiced patience. "We're full of surprises. Indeed, your species' profile indicates remarkable neuroplasticity and stress adaptation." The Arcturian's head tilted at an angle impossible for human anatomy. Though your physical parameters are concerning for Academy standards, I'm within the adjusted metrics for my species, Maya replied. Yes, the accommodations. The medic's tone suggested what they thought of such allowances. Baseline physical requirements have been modified by 47% for human participants. Most unusual. Maya bit back a retort. The accommodations had been a point of fierce debate within the Federation Council. Humans couldn't match the raw strength of Orcidians, the sensory precision of Medusan observers, or the technological integration of the Syntheri collectives. But what the Council didn't understand, what Thrax and his kind refused to acknowledge, was that humans had something far more valuable. Adaptability born from thousands of years of surviving as prey before becoming apex predators. After processing, Maya was escorted to her quarters, a sterile cubicle calibrated to Earth standard gravity and atmospheric composition. The space felt isolated, separated from the main cadet quarters, ostensibly for her comfort, but effectively segregating her from her peers. Her neural implant finally synchronized with the station network, and information flooded her consciousness. Academy protocols, training schedules, facility maps, and species interaction guidelines. The sheer volume of data was overwhelming, but Maya had trained for this, her mind compartmentalizing and cataloging the information with practiced efficiency. She unpacked quickly, setting up the few personal items she was allowed. A small hologram of her family back on Earth, a smooth stone from the shores of Lake Michigan, where she had grown up, and a well-worn copy of The Art of War by Sun Tzu, a gift from her grandfather. A chime indicated an incoming message. The holographic display activated, revealing the stern visage of Academy Director Kelvin, an ancient Medusan whose species had been among the Federation's founders. Lieutenant Reyes, the director's translated voice resonated with formal precision. Your presence at the Academy is unprecedented. I must inform you that several instructors, including Senior Commander Thrax, have formally protested your admission. Maya stood at attention, though the transmission was one way. I understand, Director. Your performance will be scrutinized most carefully. The standards will not be lowered to accommodate your limitations. Earth's continuing relationship with the Federation may well depend on how you acquit yourself here. No pressure, Maya muttered after the transmission ended. The orientation signal sounded, giving her 5 minutes to find the central atrium. Maya squared her shoulders and stepped back into the corridor, ignoring the stares of passing aliens. Some were merely curious, others openly hostile. The central atrium was a wonder of engineering, a vast open space at the heart of the station where all 5 of the Federation's environmental biomes merged seamlessly into one another. Crystalline trees from Arcturia grew alongside the sulfur vents preferred by the methane-breathing Zox. Gravity fluctuated subtly throughout the space, accommodating species from worlds both greater and lesser than Earth's pull. Hundreds of cadets from dozens of species had gathered, forming loose groups largely divided by planetary origin. Maya stood alone, the sole representative of humanity in a sea of alien life. Academy Director Kelvin materialized on a floating platform at the center of the atrium, his Medusan form rippling with colors that conveyed emotion and emphasis to those species capable of perceiving them. Cadets of the 1157th training rotation. The director's voice reverberated through the atrium, automatically translated for each species. You represent the finest warriors, tacticians, and specialists from across known space. The challenges you will face here will test the limits of your abilities and forge you into the next generation of Federation defenders. Maya listened intently, absorbing both the words and the subtext. The Academy wasn't just a training facility. It was a political institution, designed to bind disparate species together through shared hardship and achievement. This cycle introduces representatives from a newly contacted species. Kelvin continued, a ripple of murmurs spreading through the assembled cadets. Earth has sent one of their own to learn our ways. All eyes turned to Maya, standing conspicuously alone. She felt the weight of their collective judgment, some curious, some dismissive, some openly contemptuous. "Lieutenant Reyes," the director called, "step forward." Maya moved to the center of the atrium with measured steps, conscious of how her movements would be interpreted. Too hesitant would signal weakness. Too aggressive would confirm stereotypes of human unpredictability. "Lieutenant, your species is young and untested," Director Kelvin stated, the translator rendering his harmonics into flat basic. "What do you bring to the Academy that we do not already possess in abundance?" The question was clearly designed to put her on the defensive, to establish her subordinate position from the outset. Maya met the director's compound gaze without flinching. "Perspective, Director," she replied, her voice carrying clearly across the hushed atrium. "Humans evolved as both prey and predator on a world of extreme environmental variation. We've survived ice ages, pandemics, and our own technological missteps. Our history may be shorter than the Federation's, but it is intensely concentrated. We've compressed millennia of development into centuries." A dismissive snort came from the section, where Thrax stood among the instructors. "Compressed development is precisely why humans are unstable and unpredictable," he interjected. "Your species still operates on primitive fight-or-flight responses rather than reasoned analysis." Maya turned slightly to acknowledge Thrax without fully facing him. A subtle signal of respect without submission. "With respect, Senior Commander, those primitive responses have saved my species countless times. When protocols fail, when technology falters, adaptability prevails." "Pretty words," Thrax rumbled, his bioluminescence flashing patterns of challenge. "But the Academy deals in measurable performance, not philosophical posturing. Your species lacks the physical durability of Orsidians, the sensory acuity of Medusans, the collective processing of Synthari, and the environmental adaptability of the Zox. By every objective measure, humans are inferior candidates for Federation service." The challenge hung in the air, naked and undisguised. Maya felt the attention of hundreds of alien cadets, all waiting to see how the human would respond to this direct assault on her species' worth. "Objective measures are only as valuable as their relevance to actual conditions," Maya replied calmly. "Throughout history, underestimated species have repeatedly overcome seemingly insurmountable disadvantages through innovation and determination. I stand before you not to claim human superiority, Senior Commander, but to demonstrate human potential." Director Kelvin's colors shifted in what Maya's implant interpreted as mild approval. "Well articulated, Lieutenant. You will have ample opportunity to demonstrate this potential during your time here." The director addressed the wider assembly once more. "Let this exchange serve as your first lesson, cadets. Assumptions about capability based solely on species characteristics are the mark of an undisciplined mind. True assessment comes through observation and testing." As the orientation continued, Maya remained aware of Thrax's glare fixed upon her. She had scored a minor victory in the exchange, but she harbored no illusions. The real challenges were just beginning. The Forsythian commander would not forgive the perceived slight to his authority, and he was in a position to make her academy experience exceedingly difficult. When the assembly disbanded, Maya found herself isolated once more as cadets broke into species-based social groups. She was heading toward her quarters when a voice called out behind her. "Lieutenant Reyes, a moment." Maya turned to find a Synthari approaching, a collective intelligence housed in a vaguely insectoid form, its exoskeleton embedded with technology that allowed the thousands of individual organisms within to function as a unified entity. "I am Training Coordinator Nexus 9. The Synthari introduced itself, mandibles clicking rhythmically as it spoke. "Your confrontation with Senior Commander Thrax was illuminating. It wasn't my intention to create conflict," Maya replied cautiously. "Intention is irrelevant. Conflict exists whether acknowledged or not." Nexus 9's compound eyes gleamed with internal lights. "I have been assigned as your orientation guide, at Director Kelvin's request." Maya raised an eyebrow. "I was under the impression that new cadets were expected to navigate the academy independently." Standard protocol has been modified in your case. Nexus 9 explained. Your presence represents a significant variable in Academy dynamics. The director wishes to optimize your integration. Translation. They wanted to keep a close eye on the unpredictable human. I appreciate the consideration, Maya said, carefully neutral. Your first assessment begins tomorrow at 500 station time, Nexus 9 continued. Physical baseline evaluation in Training Complex Alpha. Commander Thrax will oversee the session. Of course he would. Maya nodded acknowledgement, already mentally preparing for what would undoubtedly be a grueling test designed to expose human weaknesses. One observation, Lieutenant Reyes, Nexus 9 added, its voice modulating to a lower register. In our collective experience spanning 3,412 years of existence, we have observed that those who are most vocally dismissive of a species' capabilities are often those who secretly fear what that species might become. With that cryptic statement, the Synthery coordinator moved away with the unsettling grace of its kind, leaving Maya to contemplate the challenges ahead. Tomorrow would be the first real test, not just of her physical capabilities, but of humanity's place among the stars. Hidden strengths. Maya arrived at Training Complex Alpha 15 minutes before the scheduled assessment, hoping to familiarize herself with the equipment. The vast chamber was empty save for a single Medusan technician calibrating environmental controls with languid tentacle movements. You're early, human, the technician observed without looking up. Most species require rest periods before evaluations. Humans function well on anticipation, Maya replied, surveying the obstacle course that dominated the center of the complex. Various stations had been set up, each designed to test different physical parameters: strength, speed, endurance, reflexes, and coordination. The technician's skin rippled with patterns that Maya's translator interpreted as skepticism. The commander had the course recalibrated to universal standards this morning. No species accommodations. I see. Maya kept her expression neutral despite the implications. The universal standards were based on the average capabilities of the founding species, all of whom evolved in environments that had produced stronger, faster, or more durable beings than Earth had. By 500, other cadets had begun filtering into the complex. Most gave Maya a wide berth, though she caught curious glances from several species. A group of Vorsidians entered together, their bioluminescent patterns synchronized in what Maya recognized as pack signaling. Among them was a younger Vorsidian who bore a striking resemblance to Commander Thrax. Ah! The human specimen arrived early. The young Vorsidian said loudly enough for his voice to carry, attempting to compensate for inferior genetics through preparation, no doubt. His companions clicked their mandibles in appreciation of the jibe. Maya chose not to respond, instead focusing on stretching exercises designed to prepare her muscles for the ordeal ahead. At exactly 500, Commander Thrax strode into the complex, his massive form commanding immediate attention. Behind him followed Director Kelvin and several other instructors, including Nexus 9. Cadets, form evaluation groups according to your assigned categories, Thrax ordered, his voice booming through the chamber. The cadets quickly sorted themselves into groups based on their physiological classifications. Maya stood alone, the sole representative of Category 7, species with mid-range physical capabilities, but without specialized adaptations. Thrax approached her, towering over her 5'9" frame. Lieutenant Reyes, you will be evaluated against the Category 4 standard. His mandibles clicked in what could only be satisfaction. Director Kelvin has approved the adjustment to provide a more comprehensive assessment of human capabilities. Category 4 was typically reserved for species evolved in high-gravity environments, Vorsidians, Taurans, and Trocherans. It was a blatant setup for failure. Director Kelvin drifted forward. Commander Thrax believes your earlier claims about human adaptability warrant a more challenging evaluation. Do you object, Lieutenant? It was a trap, carefully laid. Object, and she would confirm every prejudice about human weakness. Accept, and she faced near-certain failure by any objective metric. "No objection, Director," Maya replied calmly. "Though I would note for the record that even Category 4 species receive environmental adjustments for their homeworld conditions." Thrax's bioluminescence flashed irritation. "You will receive Earth-standard gravity and atmosphere, nothing more." "Then I request Category 4 nutritional supplements," Maya countered, "as provided to other Category 4 participants." A ripple of surprise passed through the observing instructors. Few new cadets were familiar enough with Academy protocols to know about the biochemical support provided to cadets undergoing evaluations outside their natural categories. Director Kelvin's colors shifted to indicate approval. "Granted, as is protocol." "Commander, please ensure the human receives appropriate supplementation." Thrax's mandibles clicked in annoyance, but he gestured to a medical technician who approached with a hypoinjector. "This will temporarily enhance your musculature density and oxygen processing," the technician explained, administering the injection to Maya's neck. "Effects will last approximately 3 hours." Almost immediately, Maya felt the change, a warm surge flowing through her limbs, her senses sharpening, her breathing becoming more efficient. The supplements wouldn't make her the equal of a Vorsidian, but they would help bridge the gap. The physical evaluation consists of 5 stations, Thrax announced to all assembled cadets. Strength assessment, speed trials, endurance challenge, reflex testing, and the integration obstacle course. Your performance will establish your baseline for future growth measurement. Maya was assigned to the strength assessment first, a transparent ploy to highlight human weakness from the outset. The station consisted of resistance pillars calibrated to measure force application across multiple axes. When her turn came, Maya approached the pillars with measured confidence. The Vorsidian cadet who had mocked her earlier, she now knew his name was Crax, Thrax's nephew, had just completed his attempt, the indicator showing force readings near the top of the scale. "Try not to injure yourself, human," Crax sneered as they passed. "Your fragile bones were not designed for real challenge." Maya positioned herself at the center of the assessment station. The supplementation was working well, her muscles responding with unfamiliar power. Still, she knew she couldn't match a Vorsidian in raw strength. Instead, she would need to apply what strength she had with maximum efficiency. She began the assessment by carefully analyzing the resistance patterns of each pillar, rather than pushing directly against them, as the Vorsidians had done. She identified the pivot points where mechanical advantage could be achieved. "The human is hesitating," she heard Thrax comment to Director Kelvin. "Perhaps the challenge is too intimidating." Maya smiled slightly, then exploded into action. She applied force precisely where the pillars were most vulnerable to leverage, using her entire body in coordinated movements that maximized impact. Each pillar registered force readings that, while not matching the Vorsidians' raw numbers, rose steadily into the respectable range for Category 4. When she finished, Maya stepped back, breathing hard but satisfied. The display showed her overall strength rating at 76% of Category 4 standard, far from dominant, but well above the failure threshold of 60% that Thrax had clearly been expecting. The commander's bioluminescence flickered with patterns of confusion and annoyance. "Adequate," he grudgingly acknowledged. "Proceed to speed trials." The speed trials presented a different challenge, a series of sprints and maneuvers through varying gravitational fields. Here, Maya's lighter frame actually provided an advantage in quick direction changes, though the sustained acceleration phases favored the more powerful species. She completed the trials with a rating of 81%, earning murmurs of surprise from observing instructors and cadets alike. Humans were not known for exceptional speed, yet her performance suggested otherwise. The endurance challenge followed, a grueling test designed to push cardiovascular and muscular systems to their limits through escalating resistance and environmental stress. This was where Maya had expected to excel, as human endurance hunting was legendary even among Federation anthropologists. For 40 minutes, she maintained a steady pace while environmental conditions deteriorated around her. gravity increasing, temperature fluctuating, and atmospheric quality declining. While other cadets began to falter, Maya settled into a rhythm, born from countless training sessions back on Earth, her mind focusing on technique rather than discomfort. When she finally reached her limit, the display showed an astonishing 94% rating, approaching elite status for the category. Impossible, Cracks protested loudly. The equipment must be malfunctioning. Nexus 9 glided forward, multiple appendages interfacing with the diagnostic systems, all systems functioning within optimal parameters. The human's endurance rating is accurate. Thrax's irritation was now palpable, his bioluminescence practically strobing with agitation. Proceed to reflex testing, he ordered Maya curtly. The reflex station utilized holographic threats from multiple angles, requiring candidates to react with precision and speed. This would be Maya's greatest challenge. Human neural transmission speeds were objectively slower than many advanced species. As the test began, holographic projectiles materialized from unpredictable directions, requiring instant evasion or deflection. Maya immediately recognized that trying to react to each threat individually would be futile. Instead, she began to observe patterns in the system's random generation algorithms. Within 30 seconds, she had identified subtle predictive indicators in the hologram matrix. Rather than reacting to projectiles as they formed, she began anticipating their appearance locations, already moving before they fully materialized. She's pattern matching, Nexus 9 observed with unmistakable interest, converting a reaction test into a prediction exercise. By the end of the 3-minute trial, Maya had achieved a rating of 83%, not through faster reflexes, but through superior pattern recognition and predictive analysis. The final challenge was the integration obstacle course, a comprehensive test combining all previous elements while adding problem-solving under pressure. Cadets had to navigate a constantly reconfiguring landscape while addressing tactical challenges that appeared randomly throughout. Maya watched as Cracks completed the course with brutal efficiency, smashing through barriers and overpowering obstacles with raw Vorsidian strength. His final time placed him near the top of all participants. A proper demonstration of warrior capability, Thrax announced proudly as his nephew exited the course. Let us see how the human approaches the same challenges. As Maya stepped to the starting position, she noticed subtle adjustments being made to the course parameters. Director Kelvin noticed as well. Commander Thrax, are you modifying the course difficulty? The director inquired, colors shifting to indicate suspicion. Minor calibrations to account for the human's smaller size, Thrax replied smoothly. Ensuring fair evaluation. Maya knew he was lying. The changes were designed to make the course more difficult, not more accommodating. But she said nothing, simply nodding her readiness to the control technician. The moment the course activated, Maya understood the true extent of Thrax's manipulations. Barriers appeared at heights specifically challenging for human biomechanics. Strength challenges were positioned to minimize leverage advantages. Timing mechanisms were accelerated beyond standard parameters. Rather than attempting to match Crax's frontal assault strategy, Maya immediately began looking for alternative paths. Where Vorsidians saw obstacles to be overcome through power, she saw opportunities for creative navigation. A wall too high to climb directly. She used momentum from a running start to ricochet off adjacent surfaces, a gap too wide to jump. She repurposed a movable barrier as an improvised bridge, a strength challenge beyond her capabilities. She reconfigured the mechanical components to create a pulley system that multiplied her force application. She's changing the course, Thrax protested. This is against regulations. Director Kelvin's colors displayed clear amusement. The regulations state that cadets must navigate from start to finish while addressing all tactical challenges. They do not specify the method of navigation or challenge resolution. As Maya progressed through the course, a small crowd began to gather, cadets who had completed their own evaluations, drawn by rumors of the human's unexpected performance. They watched as she transformed what should have been an impossible challenge into a demonstration of adaptability and resourcefulness. When she finally crossed the finish line, exhausted but triumphant, her time was only seconds behind Crax's, a remarkable achievement given the deliberate disadvantages she'd faced. Her overall integration rating flashed on the display, 87% of Category 4 standard. The chamber fell silent. For a human to achieve such a rating against standards designed for physically superior species was unprecedented. Director Kelvin drifted forward, his colors displaying complex patterns that Maya's translator couldn't fully interpret. Lieutenant Rice, your performance today has been illuminating. While your raw physical metrics remain below Category 4 averages, your problem-solving and efficiency ratings are exceptional. Thrax stepped forward, mandibles clicking rapidly. Director, with respect, the human clearly exploited system vulnerabilities rather than demonstrating true capability. I recommend. Your recommendation is noted, Commander. Kelvin interrupted, colors flashing what translated as finality. But the purpose of the Academy is not to produce cadets who excel only at predetermined approaches. Tactical innovation is a valued skill. The director turned back to Maya. Lieutenant, you will continue to be evaluated against Category 4 standards, as you have demonstrated sufficient capability to meet them, albeit through unconventional means. Thank you, Director, Maya replied, keeping her satisfaction carefully contained. As the evaluation session concluded, Maya noticed something unexpected. Several non-human cadets approaching her with expressions of curiosity rather than disdain. Your solution to the gravity well was most efficient, commented a synthery cadet, its collected voice harmonizing from multiple sources. Our simulations had not considered that approach. A Medusan cadet drifted closer. The pattern recognition you displayed during reflex testing. This is a common human cognitive function. Before Maya could respond, Crax pushed through the gathering, his bioluminescence pulsing with anger. Do not be impressed by tricks and shortcuts, he snarled. In actual combat, such cleverness will fail against true strength. Perhaps, Maya replied evenly, or perhaps combat itself is the ultimate test of adaptability rather than adherence to expectation. Crax leaned closer, his massive form towering over her. You have embarrassed my uncle today, human. That is not forgotten or forgiven. I merely completed the evaluation to the best of my ability, Cadet Crax. Your ability will be truly tested soon enough, he promised, bioluminescence flashing with unmistakable threat. The physical evaluation is the least of the challenges you will face here. As Crax stalked away, Nexus 9 approached Maya. An interesting development, the synthery coordinator observed. You have attracted both positive attention and heightened animosity. Not my intention, Maya said, finally allowing herself to lean against a wall as the supplementation began to wear off, her muscles trembling from exertion. Intention is irrelevant. Results determine perception. Nexus 9's compound eyes gleamed. The question now becomes, was today representative of human capability, or have you revealed your maximum potential prematurely? Maya smiled slightly. That would be telling, Coordinator. Indeed. Nexus 9 extended a data tablet. Your next assessment begins tomorrow. Tactical simulation block in Complex Delta. Commander Thrax will not be supervising. Thank goodness for small mercies, Maya murmured. A premature assessment, Nexus 9 replied. The commander has assigned his most challenging simulation parameters. Your performance today has escalated matters. As the synthery moved away, Maya reviewed the simulation briefing on the tablet. The scenario parameters were indeed daunting, designed to overwhelm with complexity and time pressure rather than physical demands. She glanced across the training complex, where Thrax and Crax stood in conversation, occasionally looking in her direction with unmistakable hostility. She had won today's battle, but the war for acceptance was just beginning. What neither the commander nor his nephew understood was that the physical evaluation had actually played to her weaknesses, Tomorrow's tactical simulation would enter her domain of strength, the human capacity for creative problem-solving under pressure. Maya pushed herself away from the wall, ignoring her protesting muscles. She had preparation to do, and not much time to do it. One thing was certain: Commander Thrax would not underestimate her again. His next challenge would be designed to crush not just her body, but her spirit. Little did he know that the human spirit was humanity's most formidable weapon of all. The Crucible Challenge. 3 weeks had passed since Maya's arrival at the Academy, and her reputation had grown in ways no one, least of all Commander Thrax, had anticipated. Following her unexpected success in the physical evaluation, she had demonstrated equally surprising aptitude in tactical simulations, xenobiology, and adaptive technology. Word had spread throughout the station. The human was different. The human was unpredictable. The human was worth watching. Maya sat alone in the central dining hall, analyzing data from her most recent training exercise, while absently consuming a protein supplement designed to approximate Earth cuisine. The hall buzzed with activity around her. Hundreds of cadets from dozens of species, grouped largely by planetary origin or physiological similarity. "Is this placement occupied?" came a melodious voice. Maya looked up to find a Tellurian cadet, an avian species with iridescent feathers and 4 delicate arms, indicating the empty seat across from her. "It's available," Maya replied, surprised. While the open hostility she had initially faced had gradually subsided, few cadets actively sought her company. "I am Nyx Trull," the Tellurian introduced herself, settling gracefully onto the seat. "Your performance in yesterday's zero-gravity rescue simulation was most instructive." "Thank you," Maya said cautiously, "though I believe I finished in the middle of the rankings." Nyx Trull's head tilted at the precise angle that indicated amusement in her species. "Rankings measure completion against standardized metrics. They do not measure innovation. Your approach to the fuel containment breach was unprecedented." Maya had improvised during the simulation, using pressure differentials to create a temporary seal rather than following the standard containment protocols. It had been messy but effective.